রেকর্ডিং হয়েছে?
Ready, Rohan? Okay.
So hello everyone, good afternoon to everybody. Let me first start by discussing the topic. Our daily life is very much incomplete without the internet. From playing video games to cheating in an online exam, which we have obviously done 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been possible without the internet. Now, getting 4G in this country was very much a big deal for us, and we have also seen how it impacted our economy. Now 5G has come in its place. It will obviously has its own pros and cons, which we will discuss in this PPT. So I, Rohan Choudhary, along with my teammates RUPSA SAHA and DEBTANU GANGULY, will present you this impacts of 5G environment. So let's start by what is in this topic. First we will see that the history of mobile networks, and then we will start by our topic, which is what is 5G and how it works. Then we will start by how it impacts our environment and how we can sustain it so that we can use it at a very much high pace and very much high intensity. So let's start. History of mobile networks. In this table, you can see that the first generation of mobile network, which only had mobile voice only services from 1970 to 1980s. Its maximum speed was 14.4 kbps, so it was only capable of voice. Then we came to 2G, which started from year 1990 to 2000. It had a speed of 9.6 to 14.4 kbps. Now in this era, data services was invented. We have also heard the term CDMA, CGS, TDMA, which were invented during this time. Then came a short bit of time which was 2.5G to 2.75G, which were only considered in the 2G generation, but it had a higher speed of 171.2 kbps. In this phase, we discovered the GPRS technology, which enabled voice, data and web mobile internet. Low streaming was possible during this time, but we cannot use voice streaming or video streaming in. So now comes 3G. It happened in the year 2004 to 2005. It had a minimum range of 3.1 Mbps. In this era, we had voice calling video calling enability and data enabled multimedia support. Then we came to 3.5G, which happened from 2006 to 2010. It had a speed of 14.4 Mbps to 1.3 Mbps. During this time, 3G was enabled with higher speed and higher frequency. And today now we are experiencing 4G, which had the overall speed of 100 to 300 Mbps. In this time, we had also discovered LTE support and streaming technology was very much redefined in this era. So now we can start by looking into what is 5G. 5G simply refers to the next and newest mobile wireless standard based on IEEE 8.0 11 AC standard of broadband technology. You don't have to get this technology standard very much in simpler terms. It is just that it will be much faster than 4G. 5G aims at a higher capacity than 4G LTE, allowing a higher number of mobile broadband users per area unit and allowing consumption of data quantities in gigabyte per second. 5G simply refers to the next and newest mobile wireless standard based on IEEE 802.11 AC. So how does it work? We may know that from 1G to 4G there was a single tower that used to get the spectrum and distribute it towards our cellular devices. Now in 5G's case, there will be a main 5G tower, and along with it there will be many small cells distributed across 5 miles of radius to the 5G tower. What it will does create a higher frequency of network, which will give us more higher frequency of speed. Now we will look into what are the impacts of 5G. For this, I will call upon my teammate DEBTANU GANGULY.
So hello everyone, my name is DEBTANU GANGULY, and you all already know that the topic is impact of 5G on our environment. So till now Rohan has discussed about the history of 5G and how does 5G work. So obviously if there's a new technology, it has some impacts on our environment. So 5G is a revolutionary technology that will have some major impacts. So there are obviously two types of impacts. One is positive impacts and another is the negative impacts. So the positive impacts of 5G. It can also expand our understanding of hence improve decision making about weather, agriculture, pest industry and waste reduction and much more. So in this chart we can clearly see that the positive impacts of 5G are reducing energy consumption and emissions. 5G linked with IoT will also cut energy use because devices will be able to power up and shut down automatically when not needed. For an example, I'm using my PC and if it actually shuts down. Okay, so reducing water and food waste. The UN has estimated that about 1/3 of the food produced globally is wasted, which also wastes the energy and the water that went into it. Agricultural sensors can detect when a plant is wilting so that they can help ensure that crops are harvested at right time. And also the protecting nature part, which includes rainforest connection, non-profit fighting illegal deforestation is working with 5G and AI to protect the rainforest in Costa Rica. AI recorders recognize the sounds of chainsaws and other machinery so that they can alert the rangers about the illegal logging in the real time. So obviously I've told that there will be also a negative impact. So let's jump into the negative impact. Okay, so this is the chart, and the negative impact is like more energy consumption and emissions. Data storage centers that can handle cloud computing and websites and store our informations use enormous amounts of energy, as much as 80% of the total network we use. Life cycle impacts. The carbon footprints of global digital system is already 4% of the global greenhouse gas emission, and its energy consumption rises about 9% a year. E-waste, which is already a huge global problem, we all know that, and also the radiation. Punjab University study found that sparrows exposed to cell tower radiation for 5 to 30 minutes produce disfigured eggs. In Spain, the nesting, breeding and rooting of birds were disturbed by microwave radiation from a cell tower. So we can clearly see the positive and negative impacts of the 5G. And for the next topic,
which would have a term development in our human resources. We know India is a poor economic country. This is a very shame to say in stage that India is a very poor economic country. But yes, absolutely, if we still today see in the graph of any statesman of any telegraph paper that the rate of economy of India or the sustainability of any type of things in India is much less than any other companies. And if we tend to think that we will bring 5G in our environment, it's very fine, it's very okay. But before, we need to keep in the mind that before bringing IoT, before bringing any type of worldwide greenhouse gases emission projects, we need to have a greenhouse effect, because we are bringing some technology, but we are not using the greenhouse effect in our day-to-day life. Till today, as per we know that there are two types of buckets, green buckets and blue buckets in our house, but I can assure that 99% of the people doesn't follow that rules and doesn't re-waste the particles. Till today, we use plastic bags in colleges, in schools and in the nearby areas. And this is the probability for which this negative impact is much greater in terms of any 5G company. So now, as per my teammate left in the field of sustaining the 5G technology, but we know as there are negative impacts, as there are positive impacts, we need to sustain it. We need to cooperate with it, and we need to go in our hand to hand by developing this technology on our way. So sustaining, what does sustaining means? First we need to, what this sustaining means? Sustaining means living. We know that Thomas Darwin or Charles Darwin many years ago in biology stated that giraffes are the sustainable among the most animals. Why? Because we know giraffes have long necks. How they have the long necks? Any answer? How they have the long necks? Anyone know how they have the long necks? Why giraffes have the long necks?
Because they used to eat from the trees and...
Yes, absolutely, because they used to, this was in our biology in class 12, they used to eat the grasses, and as they tried to do that, their habit made their long necks longer. And why our duodenum part is not existing right now? We had a duodenum part which still exists in cows, but we don't have. We have still, but this is not in there. Why we are not having this duodenum? This is the only relation, because we don't eat green vegetables nowadays. Oh, that's why the children which are growing, they are having a very bad conditions, because our duodenum is losing. And it's also stated in some biological reports that this finger will not be available for the next 100 years. After next 100 years, we can't see this finger, because we practically we use this feature. And this is only also connected in our technology. How? If this 5G is in use, we need to make it use. That's why, and we need to make it sustainable. So the first use is 5G will consume a great deal of electricity. Decarbonizing our electric system is critical. So as I stated earlier that yes, this will create a lot of electricity problems, and this will also create a lot of power generation problems, which we need to sort out from any hydroelectricity power, any wind electricity power, and any type of natural resources power, because in India it is not possible to have a huge cost loss in transmission wires, in electrical appliances, or in any type of deals. So this means replacing the fossil fuels with renewable energy, improving grid flexibility and storage, and using carbon capture strategies with any remaining fossil fuel power plants. Before introducing this 5G, I would request everyone present here to be renewable, means to have this RRR technology in our mind, reuse, recycle and redo it. Means we need to use the renewable resources in such a format so that our cost gets manufactured in this part, and we can use this 5G network in such a way so that it becomes long lasting and it becomes sustainable for our environment. So now the most interesting part of this 5G network project. This is the most efficient cooling. How we know that any iPhone user here, we have one iPhone user in our class, is always damn cool. Why? This is just because of the technology we use. Actually, we have the technology. But this doesn't mean that a Nokia phone cannot lend our users. It can lend our users. It can, okay, it may be two iPhone users. Yeah, it may be two iPhone users right now. So it can be two or three, whatever. But the first point is Nokia developed a liquid-cooled base station in Finland using water to cool the station. Instead of air consumed 10% of the energy of traditional air cooling. With water cooling, it was also possible to use the waste heat from the base stations for water or space heating in the buildings next to the base stations. In addition, data centers cooled with liquid reduced carbon emissions by 90%. If you have done our physics experiment in the previous semester, we saw that cooling gas affects emission. This is only saying the same. It was in Finland, in England, the Nokia developed its liquid base cool station. What does this base cool station do? The base cool station at first used the air cooling technology. By using this air cooling technology, it was not at all possible to use the technology in a better way. But after that, it was done with water cooling procedure. And as because the hydroelectricity power was used, what was it done? It was done based to the next base station. And it was cooled out, it was made to use, and after that the technology became hand to hand, and that's why Nokia still today have a brand value much higher than any of the brands, and Nokia phones are much durable than any of the other brands, or the smartphones are very used and hardy. And we can also see if we open the battery from the Nokia phones, the Nokia phone batteries are much thicker because it doesn't only contain the base, it also contains a watery base in it, which helps to give the cooling effect, and that's why Nokia phones doesn't get hot as we use it much more. But Redmi phones or MI phones or Oppo phones get much hotter because nowadays these companies are using only air-based technologies, which our daily report says. Next is the biodegradable sensors. Some scientists are working on developing biodegradable sensors that dissolve when they are no longer heated. Such sensors could be based on paper or polylactic acid, which are biodegradable and are already used in medical applications. So first question that in your mind will come, what is polylactic acid? Polylactic acid is nothing but it is the product of acid formation, which is forming by the help of lactic acid, means from which the curd is made, or in Bengali which we know as dahi, and it is when it is polygaming itself with, or it is forming bonds with itself with water and some acidic formation, it is forming polyacidic acid. So this acid, what does it do? It have a biodegradable effect on our environment. So just like the paper, we know that paper is a biodegradable product. It can be dissolved in soil, and we have a very high efficiency from that. So the scientists are working on this product so that whenever it will be not needed, whenever it will be stopped using, we can use it for the further use without any loss of energy. Next is network sharing. So this is the most important point for which this 5G is bring to use, or which every future scientists are thinking to bring this 5G networks in uses. Some companies are sharing 5G network infrastructure to potentially cut 30% of their cost. MCKV, the management consulting firm, found that cost to set up small cell-based stations could be reduced by half if 3 players share the network. We know that if we bring one large pizza and eat with between 2 people, it will obviously, the 2 people can eat it up, but the cost will be 800. But suppose I am giving a treat to 8 people and I brought a large pizza. The people will not say, oh, they will get 1 piece each. So my cost is 800. I am giving treat to 8 people. My cost is 800. I am giving treat to 2 people, which is better. Obviously, I am giving treat to 8 people. As because we are using the biodegradable products, and as because our cost is getting low there, so we can also use the 5G network in many hands. Suppose a hotspot, if we use a 5G hotspot, just we use the Geo fiber, it can communicate up to 20 people a time, I guess. If I am wrong, I may be wrong because I don't know the particular figure. But if it's 5G, we can use 30 people max to max. So when a single network is using 30 people connections, it's obviously reducing our cost. It's obviously lending our better future, better technology, better efficiency in a way minute hand. So the conclusion which we drew from the whole of the project, from the whole of the presentation, was not whether or not 5G will be a boon or a bane for the environment remains to be seen. It is a very enhanced topic. Means this topic is why we selected this topic, because today we are always in our engineering college and our work is to work with technology. technological fields. That's why we brought IoT, we brought IT, we brought AIML projects, and also we brought our stream ECE here. And so we don't know that when 5G will come within 2040 it can land. Many people may be enhanced. Still now Geo is not in everyone's house. Yes, the who one invented Geo was a great plan keeper. That's why they first started with giving free SIMs. They started to give free SIMs to the Geo users, and now they are charging 666 per 84 days. But the plan, the business, no, একদমই নয়. Paper or polyactic is just an example. Just an example. We can use any biodegradable sensor which can be used to generate power, which can be used to generate electricity, can be used as the sensors. হ্যাঁ, এবার সেন্সর ইউজ করার জন্য তো কিছু সেন্সিং পাওয়ার্স দরকার লাগবে. যে কোনো একটা আমি হঠাৎ করে রাবারকে এনে তো বলতে পারি না, কারণ রাবার ইজ আ টাইপ অফ ইনসুলেটর. টাইপ অফ বায়োডিগ্রেডেবলও নয়. এবারে ওরকম অনেক বায়োডিগ্রেডেবলও আছে যেগুলো ইনসুলেটর হিসেবে বা সেমিকন্ডাক্টর হিসেবে ইউজ হয়, তো সেগুলো আমরা পাই.
বায়োডিগ্রেডেবল সেন্সরে 5G টেকনোলজি যে রিলেশনটা বা এই মেকানিজমটা এটা একটু
আমার যেটা মনে হয়, এটা আমি পুরোটা তো স্টাডি করে আসিনি, বাট আমার যেটা মনে হয় বায়োডিগ্রেডেবলের সঙ্গে 5G টেকনোলজিটা এটাই. এখনকার যে কোনো টেকনোলজি যদি আমি দেখি সেটার সঙ্গে বায়োডিগ্রেডেবলের রিলেশনটাই এইভাবে কি আমাদের বায়োডিগ্রেডেবল ওয়েস্টগুলো বা আর সেন্টারগুলোতে যাচ্ছে, ওখানে গিয়ে ওটা বায়োডিগ্রেডেশন হচ্ছে, গোবর গ্যাস ফর্মেশন হচ্ছে বা যে কোনো এনার্জি টাইপ অফ ইউজ করছে. এবারে গোবর গ্যাসটা কিসের জন্য ইউজ হয়? ওই গোবর গ্যাসটাই তো পরে ইলেকট্রিসিটির জন্য ইউজ হচ্ছে, বা ওই গ্যাসটাকে স্টোর করে রেখে যেটা আমাদের লাইট এমিশিং এলইডি যেটা আমরা বলি, এই এলইডি লাইট এমিটিং ডায়োড এত ইউজে কেন? আগে তো নর্মাল লাইটস থাকতো, শুধুমাত্র ওই যে ওই বাল্বটা এখন বায়োডিগ্রেডেবলি ইউজ হয় বলে, যদিও ওটা তাড়াতাড়ি ওই জন্য খারাপ হয়ে গেলে ফেলে দিতে হয়, ওটা আমরা রিনিউ করতে পারিনি. তো আমার ওই জন্য মনে হয় যে বায়োডিগ্রেডেবল সেন্সার যত বেশি ইউজ করব তাহলে কি আমাদের কস্টটা ওই দিক দিয়ে করছে, আমরা যেটাকে ফেলে দিচ্ছি ওটাকে. এটা ফিউচার স্কোপ, এটা ফিউচার স্কোপ. এখনো তো 5G আমাদের পুরো ডে টু ডে লাইফে আসেনি, ওই জন্যই ওখানে লেখা আছে সাম সায়েন্টিস্ট আর ওয়ার্কিং অন ডেভেলপিং. ফার্স্টলি সাম সায়েন্টিস্ট আর ওয়ার্কিং অন ডেভেলপিং বাই, এখনো অবধি পুরো কাজ হয়নি. দিস ইজ অলওয়েজ আ ফিউচার স্কোপ. ওই জন্যই টপিকটা হচ্ছে সাস্টেনিং 5G, মানে কিভাবে 5G বেঁচে থাকতে পারে.
মানে 5G 4G এখন যে এফেক্ট করছে তাতে 5G আস্তে আস্তে তোমার প্রচুর রকম
অবশ্যই
5G এসে গেছে. আর একটা চেঞ্জ হচ্ছে, আর একটা নতুন জিনিস জানো, নতুন ইউনিট হয়েছে,
আর নতুন
দুটো ইউনিট হয়েছে. তোমরা একটু সার্চ করবে, প্যারিস 10^27 এটা জেনে রাখবে. 10^27 1 kg is equal to 10^20 1 রেনোগ্রাম রেনো এন্ড হচ্ছে একটা রেনোটা 10^27 গ্রাম. এটা মনে রাখবে. এই পরশুদিন এটা হচ্ছে ইভেন্ট হয়েছে এবং এটা তোমার ফিজিক্সের যে ইভেন্ট, তোমাকে এটা মনে রাখবে. আচ্ছা সেটাই পরে বলছি. আচ্ছা এবার হচ্ছে তুমি পরের পেজটায় যাও. আরেকটা জিনিস সুন্দর বলছি, এই সরি আগের পেজ আগে এটা. হ্যাঁ এইখানে ওই যেটা রেডিয়েশন যেটা রেডিয়েশন না লাইফ সাইকেল ইম্প্যাক্ট. হ্যাঁ, দ্য কার্বন ফুটপ্রিন্ট অফ দ্য গ্লোবাল টিম ইজ অলরেডি 4% অফ দ্য গ্লোবাল গ্রিনহাউস গ্যাস এমিশন and this energy consumption rises by 9% per year. 9%.
মানে 9% কিসের ক্ষেত্রে? মানে এক একটা 5G টেকনোলজি.
আচ্ছা, ও
মানে অ্যাজ আ হোল পুরো ওয়ার্ল্ড ওয়াইড 9%.
সেটাই
এক একটা 5G টেকনোলজি ইজ ইউজিং দিস 9% পার্ট.
তাহলে অ্যাকচুয়ালি 9%.
হ্যাঁ, ইটস ভেরি হার্মফুল. এটা খুবই হার্মফুল. মানে একটা টাওয়ার কত পার্সেন্ট কার্বন, কারণ আমরা জানি যেহেতু কার্বন সবথেকে চিপেস্ট অ্যান্ড রেজিস্টার হিসেবে আমরা সবসময় দেখি কার্বন এমিশন লায়েন্স ইউজ করি বা কার্বন ওয়্যারস ইউজ করি, তাই জন্য আমরা পুরোটাই কার্বন দিয়ে করার চেষ্টা করি.
আচ্ছা, আমার একটা সিম্পল কোশ্চেন, ধরো একটা তুমি 1G ইউজ করেছো বা 1G 2G 3G 4G 5G, এবার আমরা জানতাম না যে তুমি এটা বলে 2.5G বা 3.5G, সো 2.5G মিন্স কি 2G?
2.5G মানে কি, এখানে দেখুন এই চারটা যেটা আছে ওটা বোঝাচ্ছি. 2.5G তে কি হলো, প্রথম 2Gটা যেটা ছিল ওটা ভয়েস এন্ড ডেটা সার্ভিসেস ছিল, আর 3Gটা যেটা ছিল ওখানে মাল্টিমিডিয়াও এলো. কিন্তু মাল্টিমিডিয়া আসার আগে তো একটা স্টেজ হয়, যে স্টেজে ধরুন লো স্ট্রিম হচ্ছে কিন্তু স্ট্রিমটা হচ্ছে,
সেটা আমরা জানি না.
মানে হইচই আসার আগে তো ইউটিউব ছিল, জিনিসটা ওরকম. হ্যাঁ,
2G থেকে 3G
হ্যাঁ, ট্রানজিশন পেজটা. হ্যাঁ,
2.5 ওটা কিন্তু কেউ জানতো
না, ওটা জাস্ট একটা নতুন ফিচার অ্যাড হয়েছে.
আমি একটা কথা বলতে চাইছি, এটাতে নট অনলি 2G আর 3G এর কথা বলছি, প্রত্যেকটা জেনারেশনে আমাদের ওখানে 1.5G কারণ স্পেকট্রামটা গভর্নমেন্ট হতে পর বাড়াচ্ছে রিডিউস করছে নিজের এনভায়রনমেন্টের ইমপ্যাক্ট।
হ্যাঁ মানে যেটা এই ফেজটা, যেরকম এই ফেজটা কিন্তু প্র্যাকটিক্যালি 4.5G, কারণ কিছু কিছু লোকের কাছে কিন্তু 5G ফোন অ্যাভেলেবেল। আমার নিজের বাড়িতেই 5G একটা মানে একজন চেনা আছে, তো তারা কিন্তু সিমটা ইউজ করছে না, কিন্তু 5G ফোন কিন্তু বেরিয়ে গেছে। এবার কিছু কিছু জন হয়তো এবার ইয়ে হচ্ছে
আমাদের
ওটাই 5G।
আচ্ছা এবার জেনারেশন, এই ধরো
হ্যাঁ
4G 5G যে জেনারেশন, এই যে তোমরা বলছো একটা ভয়েস আর ডেটা সার্ভিস বা কোনো ক্ষেত্রে মাল্টিমিডিয়াটা তোমার ইনক্লুড হচ্ছে, ঠিক আছে, এই যে এইটা কিভাবে ইনক্লুড হচ্ছে, মানে আমি কখন মানে 4G থেকে 5G বলছি, মানে কিভাবে এটা বুঝছি?
হ্যাঁ ওই যে আমি মাঝখানে একটা এক্সাম্পল দিয়েছিলাম যে 4G ব্যাপারটা কিন্তু আমরা জানতামই না, কি করে জানলাম, জিও দিয়ে জানতাম। জিও 4G সিম সবাইকে ফ্রিতে দিচ্ছে, ক মাসের জন্য যেন ফ্রি কলিং, 3 মাসের জন্য ফ্রি কলিং আর ফ্রি ডেটা।